Hey there, live from Loft 100 Studios here in sunny San Diego, California. We are nationwide, coast to coast, on television and radio, 110 million broadcast homes, 150 radio stations. We're also on Armed Forces Radio in 175 countries and all the ships at sea. Big Biz Show is on the air. Sully, Costa, Day Trader Cotro. Boom, just like that. Hey, Martin Lehr is the CEO and co-founder of Context Therapeutics. Context Therapeutics, they're publicly traded under the stock symbol CNTX. This is a subject that nobody wants to talk about, but everyone needs to talk about, and that is improved treatments in hormone-driven female cancer. Unfortunately, going into 2023, we are all still affected by the C word. And of course, Context has a potential to transform treatment for women's cancer. So we're going to start following Martin Lehr, who again is the CEO and co-founder of Context. They're publicly traded under the stock symbol CNTX. And some of the stuff you're looking at on the screen here is from contexttherapeutics.com. But Marty, great to have you along today. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy everything. And he's back. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Happy.
So my question for you is, going into 2023, end of 2022, are we staying the course? Are we excited about 2023? Because everything I read about you guys, every time I get into the weeds onto your website and everything else, you guys are in exactly the right place at the right time. Talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we'd like to think so. So thanks for having me. As always, Context has two programs in our pipeline. We have CTIM76, a bispecific antibody, and then a really neat pill called ONA XR that blocks progesterone. So in 22, we had a number of key inflection points for those programs. In the case of ONA XR, we saw really exciting data in endometrial cancer. What does exciting data mean? Endometrial cancer is treated with chemotherapy. We're all probably aware that the chemotherapy works in many cases, but it's really toxic and debilitating from a side effect standpoint. So we're seeing in that trial chemotherapy-like activity as far as having an effect on tumors, but without chemotherapy side effects. Women are going about their daily lives, they're playing with their kids, they're walking, they're playing tennis. The drug is performing as good or better than we had hoped.
So when you're talking about the side effect thing, that's the quality of life portion, not just the curable portion. I think that's a double whammy in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, we got to finish the trial, but the data right now is pointing to the fact that it continues to stay the course. Patients are enrolling. The data is holding up over time, which is great. So again, exactly, Sully. We want to treat the cancer, but we don't want to do it in a way that makes it so the woman cannot leave their bedroom or sofa. You want to go about your daily life, and that's exactly what we're seeing for that trial. So where we are right now is we want to provide further updates in 23, how all of these trials are going really, really well. And then importantly, we have the capital to get to these inflection points. We're well capitalized. We have money into 2024. We're in a very fortunate position as a biotech company relative to other similarly situated companies right now.
What's interesting here, Marty, is this addressable market, and it's a number that we don't like it to be as big as it is. But if you talked about a worldwide addressable market for what you're doing, what do you can you take a stab at it?
Yeah, so breast cancer alone is a $20 billion market. It's massive, which speaks to the fact that just so many women are getting this disease. Breast cancer is the number 2 leading cause of death amongst cancer for women, and that's followed by ovarian and endometrial. So these are unfortunately large end markets. There are no cures for women once you get metastatic breast, ovarian, endometrial. And so there's a real need to, what's referred to as bend the mortality curve, make patients live longer, and make sure they live longer under good health.
What's next for you guys in the arc of the FDA story? Because we've got a couple of therapies out there. You initiated another phase 1b/2 clinical trial last quarter. So talk about where we're at in the arc of that story.
Yeah, we have a bunch of phase 2 trials that are ongoing. Our drugs have potential in multiple cancers, which is why we have multiple clinical trials. But the first trial to wrap up will be our endometrial cancer trial. That'll wrap up by the end of the year. And then we would be in a position about a year after that to start a phase 3 trial. There's a lot of legwork that goes into initiating a phase 3 trial, but endometrial is really cooking. And we have guided people to right around the end of the year, fourth quarter, to providing the top line data from that trial.
Marty Lehr is his name. He's the CEO, as well as a co-founder of Context Therapeutics. They're publicly traded under the stock symbol CNTX. And of course, you can go to contexttherapeutics.com. You know, one thing we haven't talked about, but I want to talk about the risk sort of aversion model for biopharma and biotech companies. Will you take this to the 5-yard line and continue all the way into doctors' offices, or are we hoping for big pharma to come in and take a bite out of you and also, you know, bring it to market? What are your plans for that? Because, you know, there's going to be a point here in the next couple of years when you guys are knocking on doctors' doors.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. You know, there's two sides. There's Marty, the entrepreneur, and what he wants to do, and Marty, the board member, who has a fiduciary duty to his shareholders.
Sure.
So we always operate with our shareholders in mind. We're going to do whatever we deem best to optimize value for them and advance these programs for women. What we have seen historically, though, is once you complete phase 2 trials, that's a really interesting entry point for a large pharmaceutical company to pick up the program and run with it. Pharmaceutical companies, the Pfizers, Novartises of the world, have large commercial organizations. We don't have that and don't necessarily aspire to have that. And so you can form a really interesting partnership to advance the program, bring in non-dilutive capital to the company, and then also have the opportunity to capture future upside of that program. So we're very interested in business development discussions. We speak to a lot of companies at any given time. But at the end of the day, we're going to do whatever is best to maximize shareholder value.
Well, we're keeping an eye on you, Marty, and we're gonna continue sort of shining the light on you guys and show some of the positive work you're doing, because you know, there's this unmet medical need for improved treatments in these female cancers, and especially hormone-related female cancers. So we love what you're doing, Marty. Thank you so much, brother. We'll see you next week here. Martin Lehr is his name, CEO, co-founder of Context Therapeutics. Ever lose anybody to cancer?
Yes.
Has everybody lost somebody to cancer? That's the scary part.
So you can't stick your hand out in a 5-foot radius without hitting somebody.
You can't.
Who's been affected by it.
It's true. All right, we continue. Big Biz Show. All right, I'm going to find out what Trace's New Year's resolution was.
Oh boy.
Trace the Gambler, I think I know. Maybe
Not gambling.
Maybe not put the estate up on every single company that we interview.
Another mortgage.
More Big Biz coming up.